Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is January 20th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing great. It's a Victory Monday over here in the household.
Illinois basketball, what do we got?
No, Illinois basketball got jobbed in East Lansing. Star point guard played 8 minutes of action. I've never seen a guard foul out in 8 minutes, but that's what. Ernie Els wins season opener on the champs
feels
tour.
Like 2 weeks ago now. We're doing a Monday recording here, but yes, Ernie Els
and Hawaii
had a great quote. Did you see his quote?
No, I didn't see
different
any.
Than Will Zalatoris.
Are we stepping on PJ's toes here?
Well, like a little different than Will Zalatoris putting on, 15, maybe 19. It keeps increasing pounds of muscles. He goes on his off season. Played a lot of golf, drank a lot of beer, ate a lot of good food, and came back very healthy. I love that his version of coming back healthy is I was well fed and well served on the beer front. I love that. Love that. And he's off and running in Hawaii. So that's Victory Monday. Cause for Victory Monday. We're going a little late here. It's Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Most people are off. It's inauguration day. Didn't consider that. We didn't think about that. Should have. Maybe nobody will watch because they're watching that.
We're doing a live show right during the inauguration. For those listening, the listening medium's still much bigger than the live show medium.
Fortunately for that.
I want the record to show we're not afraid to put our Amex coverage up against Inauguration Day.
You directed me to, I think PGAtour.com is programming for this Inauguration Day. American themed content. The lead on PGAtour.com. Matthew Pavon represents the American dream. That is just the story I didn't know I needed here on Inauguration Day.
Can we unpack this for a second? Unpack the premise of this?
Unpack away.
The American dream is someone who earned well over north of $1 billion on the European tour and comes over. Millionaire comes to America and makes millions more. Is that the modern American dream?
It's like going through Ellis Island with no pot to piss in. It's basically the same thing. That's good. I love your unpacking there. All right, so we got Victory Monday. We got Inauguration Day. Should we get into the golf that was? I mean, it was a good day for the European Ryder Cup team, if I must say so myself, on either side of the tour. Tyrrell winning in Dubai. The Tank winning
Chrome Dome, Sepp Straka.
Yeah, it was it was interesting. An interesting day. We are a gambling podcast. We're back to being a gambling podcast. What did our picks go this week? What did we go?
We need to get chesty on Twitter. That's the thing we're not doing enough of. Is getting chesty about our picks. We went 1-2-12. That was our
It's pretty good.
We went 1-2, and my 12th pick was the first round leader. So, if you were following guidance on potential JT Poston first round leader, you could have cashed too. I mean, we got to just start, touting our picks, but then don't say anything when the picks are bad. That's the pick the best gambling. That's what the best gamblers do.
You know what I honestly I was thinking about this yesterday. I was watching, I think it was NBC before the Rams-Eagles game. And they were doing picks with like their expert and I think Matthew Berry. And it nothing specific to them.
Was he doing TGL picks?
No, they just put all the picks on the screen. I would pay, and I wouldn't pay, but I'd be interested in clicking on like a real actual auditing service. There's betting content is just so ubiquitous now, just overflowing in golf alone, let alone other sports where like picks, DFS plays, that you can just fart anything out in the universe and no one checks you on it. Like a guy could have like a 10% hit rate and there's no real accountability or accounting being done anywhere. And there's just so much of it that it's hard to even keep track of. And it's like, who's checking any of this stuff? right? It's like, it just doesn't. It'd be like as if I were a writer and I couldn't write in complete sentences for a month and a half. I might get checked on it, right? There needs to be a real actual compiles everything by sport, outlet, because this content is just being vomited at large quantities, and there's really no accountability for any of it. But
it feels like there's almost a piece of gambling content out there for every gambler.
But these people could just be leading you off a cliff. I mean, Lamagna talks about this. He said there's like basically one guy in golf who like kind of hits.
Well, there's one guy, and you don't know who he is.
Right.
Like,
They're not going out there. With
generally, I feel like the typical is like if you're really good, then you don't tell anybody what you're doing.
It's interesting. There's just so much of it, and you could really say anything or pick anything. You could have 10 straight losing weeks. I don't know. I'm sure there's demand.
What analysts, all sports are included? Would you least trust with your money?
I mean, some of Zayner's methods might be provocative, like, lick your finger, put it up in the wind, and then that's how he bets. Like, that might be interesting. That'd be tough. Champions Tour picks via Zayner, just talking about some guys, grit, determination. I don't know. Who would you pick?
Maybe Jason Garrett, Tony Dungy.
Yeah. Hey, another thing while we're on this subject, rambling here on Monday, if you had like a really high leverage, high pressure game, the team you're rooting for was in it, who would you least want on the call as they were losing or about to lose? Because Collinsworth would be up there for me. Like when he's chuckling away and talking about the other team, I'll
tell you what.
Jumping out of my chair pissed if I actually cared about my team losing.
That Jalen Hurts.
Like that would drive me bananas. I had to deal with that and the loss.
Do you know how many Bears-Packers games with Aaron Rodgers playing that I've listened to Chris Collinsworth just like basically like soliloquy Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, right.
But
he's up there.
Aaron Rodgers. Nobody should be able to do this.
He's definitely up there. I think probably number one on the NFL front. I don't know. There's probably somebody in college football that would drive me crazy too, but he's up there. All right.
You know who's also bad? Schlereth.
The hog mollies. Talking about the hog mollies up front.
We were watching Bears. Was it Bears Broncos?
Something.
When we were in New York City. What were we in New York City for?
Yeah, it was
5 years.
4 or 5. Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah, he's talking about the hog mollies. Yeah, it was interesting. Hey, did I pick Straka? I don't even remember our picks from
I
Wednesday.
thought PJ picked Straka.
I had the tank.
And
I think you took JT. Yeah.
And then
no, you took Sungjae.
Oh, maybe we missed. Maybe we didn't go 1, 2, 12 then.
All right. Well, I don't want actual auditing. No, never mind about my auditing idea. Never mind. Damn it. You texted 1, 2, 12. I was like, I don't even remember who I picked.
It's like last year.
It feels like
JTs.
No, you took Sungjae.
Scrap the idea about auditing. Sungjae is solid MC there. All right.
That's a good moment in the shotgun start history. Sungjae, didn't he WD? Did he?
No, he cut. He got shot on Saturday afternoon. 354-hole cut.
Do you want to talk about the marathon that was PGA West?
Sure.
Amex?
Yeah. Tank wins. Beats off Jason Day, Charlie Tuffman, Justin Thomas, a few others.
I was pretty happy when Tough Talk just acquitted himself.
Acquitted himself of contending?
Yeah, he rinsed it on like 12 or whatever, that long par 3. Just hit a terrible shot.
14, I believe.
Yeah. It was like, thank God, this guy. Do you see his quote about I can beat anyone? Real Woody Austin vibe.
Yeah. I mean,
When it's warm and I'm
healthy, yeah,
I can beat anyone. Well, I guess that is true. That is
right.
that is true. In a vacuum, I don't think that you could beat anybody at the U.S. Open over 4 rounds. I don't think you could beat anybody at the Masters over 4 rounds. I think we've had like a 20-year history with you not beating any.
Yeah, and the whole I could like, yeah, one in whatever. Like you also have to have these stipulations, and then you get to the I could. And what is the could? What is the percentage there? A 5%, a 1% chance, a 10%? Like this is like Robert Garrigus a year ago. Like I could tee it up next week and win, and that's why we all need spots in these events. Well, like yeah, it just it's these guys, they're pros. They're incredibly talented at what they do, but then they start to delude themselves into like what is earned, what is get, like all that stuff. It gets a little dicey. Toughman gets ejected though at the 13th hole, hitting 2 in the water, and the tank sort of cruises, rumbles and stumbles his way in.
Tank was just holding on for dear life down the stretch. It was like the perfect example of like you could
just steer it around.
Well, I mean, he played like a normal person would play in that circumstance. I feel like this happens in every sport where you have a lead and you're trying to nurse it to the end versus the teams that like go out and win the game.
Prevent defense and stuff like that.
Like he was just like, where he put himself on 16 was just awful.
So he was in a tire track. Too.
I mean, he was clearly just aiming 25 yards right of the green because he didn't want to hit in the bunker.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you think about it, if he hits it in the bunker and then hits it over the green, out of the bunker, he's in a way better spot than where he was. He's probably making like no worse than 6 from that bunker. I know that some people, and let me tell you, the social media accounts had fun with Big Bill Mao. It was fun. I know that there were some big numbers from there, but like if you're just trying to make 6, you don't make a big number. You make a big number trying to get up and down out of that bunker.
Right.
And so, but then so he just guided his way in. But I will. The tank's a machine. Didn't make a bogey, and I know it's a soft setup for 69 holes.
Someone asked him about that. I was like, were you worried about the bogey? She's like, no, man, I just wanted to win. Like somebody like, no, I'm not thinking about how I haven't made a bogey. I would like to introduce the notion of the tank slam, which is sort of what you'd find in a septic tank. He has now won the Honda. He's won the Deere. He's won the Amex. And what are we going to choose? So Amex winner, Honda. I'm gonna liberally say it's a spring.
I would say that he almost won TPC Initech too.
Zalatoris when bumping it off the bulkhead and taking a drop and all that. So he's won winter Amex, spring Honda, summer Deere. What's he need in the fall to complete the tank slam? We need like a Sanderson. He's been a runner up.
I could see a kid flushing a Barbie into a septic tank. The problem is Tank's never going to play the Barbie.
No, not anymore. But look at his resume. Guy is a good player, makes birdies.
Well, he's
like peaking at 31, but I wouldn't say he's winning the A-list events, and I don't mean that as a slight.
Why are you being so disrespectful to the Tank?
I'm not. I'm embracing the idea of the tank slam.
You're forgetting when he was raining birdies at the Open Championship and really was the only man that could stop fellow Chrome Domer Brian Harmon.
Guy is a birdie machine. He is a birdie machine. He's like used to be a fringe like guy, and he's worked his way through his 20s, and he's peaked over the last 3 or 4 years. Seems in line for a Ryder Cup spot again at Bethpage. But yeah, I love the idea of the tank slam. Not necessarily taking down, blue bloods so far, but that's not to say he's undeserving or incapable. I just like the idea of a tank slam. That's all.
A rocket mortgage might belong in the septic tank, right?
I thought about that one. Yeah, just the quartet you'd want. I mean, this is in there. PGA West, PGA National, and TPC Deer Run. He's got them all. He's just rumbling around in the tank.
The other thing that the tank's going to bring to the Ryder Cup off the bus intimidation. You get
Tyrrell.
him and Rom just rumbling off the bus.
That's fair. You need those continental Europeans to bring some size. You're typically not going to get that from the Isles. So yeah, they're bringing it. They're bringing it.
Can we talk about how long it took for this to happen, unfold?
We can do that. It was what was the total? 5 hours?
339 minutes of final round action for Septic Tank. They teed off. They teed off at, I think it was 9 or 10:50. They almost
Eastern, I believe.
Well, yeah. I'm talking about the local time, because I'm not an East Coast elitist that converts every time to my, my time
world
zone.
Runs, Andy, TV networks.
So, anyways, they almost played for 6 hours.
It was dark. I saw Day had to throw on his Malbon sweater at the end because it was getting cold, and it was the sun went behind the Santa Rosa Mountains, and it was dark. Darkness was creeping in, and it got chilly. 6 hours, as Joel Beal tweeted, it was almost 4 hours for 12 holes, 2/3 of the round.
Now 5 hours but didn't even finish 16 holes by 5 hours.
The 11th hole was a complete disaster. That's a par 5 reachable in 2. They were on that for 40 minutes alone. I don't even want to shout about it. I watched this event twice. I watched it Sunday, kind of half in and out on football. Watched it Monday morning, completely locked in. These do feel like instant things they can improve and tweak. They can push a button and change this. I think there's real debate about how many players should get cards and how you set up a golf course. That some of that gets into subjective gray areas. This is a thing that can be changed. The NFL just decided, you know what, kickoffs, we don't like the way they are. We're going to change them, a dramatic change. Or we're going to legislate this out of the game. We're going to change this in the NBA. This is something you can enforce, impose, and change tomorrow if you want. Not tomorrow with the field sizes, but going forward, you can make this a thing.
I tweeted about this, and I got so many comments from people that were like, why does it matter? You're not playing. You're just watching. It just means you get more golf to watch. And sure, in a vacuum, yeah, you get more golf to watch, but you get less consequential, especially and I think this is true for whether it's close or a runaway. There was only one player that had consequential shots yesterday, and you're having to wait so long in between all of them that it makes it. I mean, I watched this instead of the football, and I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm just like, this is insane. This is bananas. If it's really slow, what happens is it just takes forever for the consequential moments to unfold. For Sepp Straka, all you're doing on Sunday is waiting for an implosion. And every shot was 15 minutes apart. So it's okay, he hit a shot. Well, I guess I don't have to watch really for 7-10 minutes until it might be his time to hit another shot. Every sport, if they played in a faster manner, the pacing would be just so much better for these tour players have loved to glom onto the idea of product. What makes the products of other sports so good is that you don't feel like you can get up and go get water. You have to wait for a timeout or a TV timeout. With golf, it's okay, if Sepp Straka's got a 4-shot lead, once he hits his second shot on 16, I know I got 10 minutes until he's going to hit his next shot to go do whatever I want. And what ends up happening is people go do that and then they miss the shot, Like you don't have to be locked in. And
no
what
cadence.
you want is you want a sport that keeps you locked in. It's why they have to fix the pace thing, is that you want to have this stuff unfolding. You do not want these long breaks between consequential shots.
I would add they were in threes. I mean, that makes the round, longer start to finish. There was 0 wind. Conditions were benign. There was like no reason for this to be slow. And it was brutal. It was 6 hours and barely beat darkness. One thing I would suggest, and by the way, I'm like totally unemotional and analytical. I know people can shout about this a lot, like right fresh off a broadcast. I watched this twice. I want to tell you, I watched this twice, Sunday night and Monday morning. And I don't want to shout about this because it's cliche, but the pace of play was bad. And the broadcast is completely unappealing with the commercials. I'm not even talking about the actual broadcast and the people. It was really bad. It was really hard to get through. I watched it streaming on Monday. I'm just skipping 30 seconds ahead, like nonstop. And it's really bad. There are more commercial breaks, it feels like, than actual golf product displays. And the commercials are all like, ED stuff and make golf your thing, which is ironic as this is unappealing. It's weird. It was just, I don't want to shout about this because it's cliche, but we do it over and over again. And it was just startling to, as someone desensitized to it, even to try and get through the replay this morning, Monday morning, and combined with the pace of play. These feel like two things that can be addressed. And it was bad.
So I often watch golf on replay, and it's astonishing how much you use the 15, 30 second ahead button. Yes. And you use it while the golf's on TV.
Yeah, that too.
Like if you're just rewatching something, which I do a lot, you can use it in between shots. Like you see the ball land, fast forward ahead. And maybe 2 fast forwards ahead before the next shot. Yesterday morning, Illinois played at 9 a.m. And my wife asked me to go get something at the store right in the first half. So I pause the game. I go. What was astonishing to me is like, yeah, I fast forward ahead of commercials, but like in a basketball game or an NFL game, it's like impossible to use the 15, 30 second ahead button in the game while the game, like that's I think like the biggest issue when we unpack golf as a TV product is like, how can I just skip ahead while you're actually on the screen and not feel like I missed anything?
Yeah. I didn't want to shout about it. I could not believe how unappealing it was in terms of just how much the commercial just blows in. And I don't want to say that. I don't say that lightly. I try to avoid adding that to the show notes or the breakdown the following day. But it was tough. On the pace of play, you had Charlie Hoffman yawning in the fairway multiple times. I think that was 11, the par 5 that took 40 minutes to play.
He's an old man. He's
yawning.
Are we worried about a Champions Tour Charlie Hoffman?
I mean,
he's getting close there.
He had 176 mile an hour ball speed on the wall. I mean, look at this. He's 48, touching 176. I'm sure he was higher than that. He looked good. He's with the Shark Greg Norman t-shirt, and yeah, he had the scruff going. Looks meaner, hitting 176. Everybody's acquiring speed. What's going on? A lot of commotion. A bunch of kids running in the room here on the day off. But yeah, I would be scared. One thing I would add, he was yawning in the 11th fairway. One tweak I might suggest for improved pace of play. I feel like we're at the point where it crossed stuff doesn't need to be the deliberation that it was. So this happened at 13. He tried to double cross the fade in the water, then re-teed and hit more of a draw across the line into the water. They stand and chat on the tee for a good 4 or 5 minutes. Then he tells Sepp and Day to walk up and signal back to me, where he didn't want anything to do with it. He's like, you guys tell me if I'm good. And so they walk forward all the way up to the tee, and they are up to the green, try to find the ball in the water, ask some retiree that's like on his butt, lounging in his backyard, watching from the other side of the hazard. Like, was it here? Where'd it go? Like, we have TrackMan. We have the tee shot track, man. We have shot link. We just can, like, you know how NFL does replay assist and it's like quicker. This feels like a place where I don't think it's going to change the pace in a dramatic way, but it's something. It was just hilarious to watch them kind of hem and haw and have them walk ahead to figure out where it crossed. I don't know, cuts maybe 5 minutes from that final group.
Question for you.
What?
PGA Tour Studios has a profanity room.
I saw that.
Do you think that they built a replay assist room in that, $700 million complex?
No, I don't.
I mean,
no. It feels like a quick thing you could do. I don't know.
If you wanted to prioritize product, there should just be a walking rules official in every group that's just ready to go. Like, it's clear that these guys don't want to, and I understand why they don't want to take drops without help.
Sure.
They don't want to get DQ'd and lose, all the money that they're going to earn. So let's just put an official in every group. You've got the money to do it. You're going to raise $3 billion.
Yeah.
It does not cost a lot to have 50 officials that are contractors and that walk with the group week in, week out. And they could you could pull from the local, like the state AM in Illinois. When you're in the final rounds, you have a walking official in your group. If a state golf association could do this, the freaking PGA Tour should be able to do this. And the great thing that you could do with this is, like, the officials, you could say, hey, whenever there is a ball in the water, ball on a cart path, your job is to go up there and say, this is where you're dropping. Like, think about the time you just saved from that.
It incrementally improves the time. Yeah. And the technology's there, right? I'm not like, this is no fault of all the three guys involved. They were trying to get it done right. It was just comically sort of slapdash, talking to the guy laying on his back lawn across the way. It's just, it feels like a quick thing with all the technology. They could kind of pinpoint a little faster. Other notes, we got a fun text about all the ads on the tank across his, all the chests and arms. What was your response? What was he has a lot of ads.
Big boy, lots of space.
I do think
there's a screenshot that's just amazing. He's at the mic. He's got like basically the ads were like perfectly aligned across his shirt, and then he had his head turned, so it showed Strixon and Cleveland Golf. It was just incredible. It was
this may be against PGA Tour regs, but feels like the next frontier could be the Chrome Dome, temporary tattoo on the Chrome Dome. And like, that would be a high leverage viral moment, right? These agents go for every inch, the yardage books. You do a temporary tattoo. Apparently we got some note from someone that he was apparently taking his hat off with some regularity because he wanted to avoid the hat tan viral moment. So he was like trying to get a little sun and then going back. Apparently, it feels like that could be a super viral, monetizable space if they really got into it and it's not illegal.
Did you see who really pushed him to go Chrome Dome? Did you see that?
Harmon. Right?
Harmon. Yeah, fellow Georgia dog. Apparently has been in his ear for years about how it's all going. It's time to just rip the Band-Aid off effectively.
Maybe that's could be an enterprising agent gets into that. It gets into that new territory. I love that.
There it is. There's the picture for the live show.
Boom, 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 boom.
Perfectly aligned across.
It's from his, chest up. I see 6 brands. Very present. There's all these names you've never heard, like, dreamed up in a Silicon Valley. Simpler, proficient, imperative.
Speaking of, I'm getting a Boomy bobblehead sent to me. A Nick Taylor Boomy bobblehead is coming to the house.
I'm getting mine via FedEx. Boomy.
Man,
We're in with Boomy. We've been
do you think Boomy gets a corporate FedEx account with their sponsorship of Nick Taylor?
They might get that settled. Any other notes from PGA West? I really want to get into the course here in a minute. I would just say JT,
Justin Thomas. Yeah.
What about it?
I mean, it's nice to see him playing well. He's got as many top 3 finishes now in 2025 as he had all of 2024.
I think that was wrong.
Really?
Yeah, I think the tour had that wrong.
Stat. The tour stat, yeah.
The tour shared it, and JT was like, "Really? What's the other one?" I think they had that wrong.
Okay.
But
well,
he's playing well.
He's playing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think like he looks good. He's got more gas in the tank. Again, the putter is going to be just the ever-present question, right?
Improve this week.
If you putt well, like if you putt average, if you're JT, you're going to win a lot. It's kind of like his career. If you're going to have a lot of top 10s if you don't putt well. That's like the Adam Scott Sergio redux, right? He hits the ball to such a high level with the increased speed off the tee. He is going to just get himself more wedges and short irons, and he's such a wonderful wedge and short iron player.
Yeah, it was there's only 2 rounds measured, was slightly in the positive or for strokes gained. Saturday was much better than Sunday. I think there's this notion of playing well in January. It's it's good for you. You take a lot out of that. Whereas I feel like if you play poorly, like John Rahm missed the cut in January, missed the cut at Dubai. Do I think that he had a year that probably wasn't up to his standards last year, but I think you just kind of toss it and it doesn't necessarily mean anything for the Masters or US Open in several months or PGA, whatever it is. Whereas if you play well in January, it feels like this narrative takes hold. Like I've got it together. Oh, might be a Ryder Cup player, not JT, but anyone. It's kind of like how much stock do you put in performance in January, right? It feels like if you play poorly, we just kind of toss it for expectations. If you play well, it starts this narrative of, I've got my shit dialed together in the offseason. It's going to be a big year. It's kind of like how much weight you put in any of this. So
I mean, here's the thing is that I would be curious, if you looked at a really big statistical sample of top 20 players, I'm guessing that there's some correlation to their best years, them playing good golf early in the year.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like building blocks, and great years are generally really consistent years.
Mm-hmm.
Years where you play a lot of really good golf last year. And John Rahm had one of probably the worst year of his career last year. And he played bad golf at the beginning of the year. It's kind of cherry picking, but it's,
So you are putting stock in January performance.
I am. I think I think in general, when guys are, there's a rhythm to it, and sure, you might fade in the back half of the year. It's hard. I mean, it's really hard to play great golf for 9 months but I think you have a better chance, especially with the way the schedule is now. It's just the majors are just such a short run. It's truncated, right? You have to have confidence. And we saw it a little bit I feel like with Rory last year, where he was a little out of sorts in February, March. He's going to see Butch. He's doing that weird pre-shot routine. And it felt like he just wasn't ready for the first 2 majors of the year.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's important actually to be informed by February.
Okay.
What do you think?
Brown, I don't disagree with that. I think we tend to overweight it in how we talk about it. Does that make sense? We kind of over project too much, and whether good or bad. Does that make sense? I think for your own player's own good, yeah, it's important.
Before we get to blades, real quick, can I just point something out?
Yeah.
Since we're a gambling pod.
Yeah.
Real short day, man. He has an extraordinary record at Torrey Pines.
Okay.
I was looking this morning. I know those ownership numbers are going to be ridiculous. Yeah. I don't want to do it, but
we're going to talk about that stinky field here in a minute. But yeah,
yes, there's Dayman is in the chat. It says fighter of the Nightman. Maybe Nightman is Torrey Pines. For Dayman.
There was a moment early on Thursday, I believe, where Joel Damon and Jason Day were both like tied or for 1-2. And they're like, what a moment for the Dayman.
I feel like I can't give Damon the Dayman.
All right. I wanted to check on that.
What do you think? What do you think? I don't want to. I don't want
like to. It's reserved for one, right?
Yes.
We can't, proliferate the day. There's only one day, man. Yeah, I have nothing to say about Blades Brown. Missed the cut. It was a lot of content, but he got hot in the second round, went nuclear, shot 64, but had a run of 7, 8, 9 birdies in a row. I tweeted something about our PGA Tour setups easier than high-level amateur or high-level junior golf. A lot of people said maybe, which will get us. Let's get us to PGA West.
Blades Brown. I saw Jim Colton, who fellow podcaster, but also father of the #1 ranked junior in the world right now.
Oh my!
He said that if you had to, Blades Brown's superpower is the ability to go deep, like insanely deep.
Got it.
And we see that. That's what he tweeted on Friday morning or whatever. Like if you were gonna ascribe one superpower skill to Blades Brown, it's his ability to go super deep. I think like the challenge for a young kid on the PGA Tour, and you see this on like the Korn Ferry Tour all the time, is like success on the PGA Tour is about stacking sub 70 rounds. It's like, can you put together 4 really good rounds, like, and not have rounds like when you shoot 74 on most, I'm speaking in kind of generalities here, that takes you so far out of it on the PGA Tour. It's going to be about and that's going to be the hard thing for a 17-year-old kid, is like, if he shoots the scores he shoots effectively in an HAGA, he's probably winning because that one super low number, or he's top 3, right? On the PGA Tour, when you shoot 74, you were just getting lapped,
Yeah.
And obviously first pro start. So really cool to see the talent. It's just going to be about consistency, because that's what, it's not sexy, but that's what the PGA Tour is about, is like, can you turn 71s into 68s with regularity? Yeah. And are you that type of player?
We saw that a little bit last year with medalist honors, winning medalist at both, amateur, junior, and like going deep quickly. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It becomes a new ball game after that, obviously. But yeah, an impressive debut. Speaking of needing to go deep, so the Tank didn't have a bogey until his 70th hole. Taylor Moore didn't have a bogey at all and finished like 7th.
Insane.
There were a lot of I don't know, chatter about course setup, right? I found the 16th hole, I don't know, it's fun to have a real hazard, a bunker that's a real hazard, right? Down the side where, like you talked about, you can make 6 from. I don't know if it goes in the water, right? It's a 2 outcome resolution. You're in the water or out. Whereas you go in the bunker, maybe you can save a 5 or 6. Maybe you make a 10, maybe you make a 13, whatever it is. I thought it was enjoyable to have something. Now you can't be having that kind of bunker all over the place, but it was fun to have some variability there, as opposed to just it's in the water or it's out. I enjoyed watching 16. Like,
it's one of the most fun holes.
Yeah.
On the PGA Tour, because of that bunker and what it does to players.
Yep. 17.
Also, what makes 16 great is what we saw with the Tank, is if you miss really wide right 16, it's like a scary chip. There's fun. Weird shit over there. There's mounds. It's not like a picnic. It's really similar to 16 at Sawgrass, where Like if you bail left, it is no easy. It's not like an easy birdie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. 17, on the other hand, a nice restoration job. No more collar gate like we have at TPC Sawgrass. Pushed out, but I wouldn't say the although there was on Saturday, a now deleted tweet by the PGA Tour. I forget who hit it. Unlucky bounce. Somebody hit it off the rocks on the right, and it bounced safely onto the turf, like the rough. And they called it an unlucky bounce. I said, this is what qualifies in PGA Tour world as unlucky. You hit a shot so offline, it hits the rocks of the hazard and stays dry. But it somehow, I don't know what lucky would have constituted it. Jumping into the hole. I don't know why staying dry is unlucky when you hit it on the rocks. But they did push the collar out, really. But they played it way up, as Joseph Lamagna said.
Insane.
You gotta. I mean, they're hitting 9 irons. They're the broadcast kind of like was making too many excuses for it. Right, there was possibility of win, and they wouldn't want to get scared. And they're like, so it's still visually intimidating, even with these guys hitting 9 irons. Right, they're kind of like they were making excuses for the pace. They're like, well, that's a tough pin. It's going to require a tricky chip. I just think we have to be a little more scrutinizing of what's going on. And so they refused to play the tee box back because the green's newish and firm, and they were worried about a wind, like a potential for wind. And this is Lamagna in our newsletter, which you should subscribe to. On to the negative. I know the stadium course is never going to punch golfers in the face like it did back in 1987. The game has changed. Nonetheless, it continues to baffle me that the PGA Tour refuses to set up golf courses in a way that legitimately challenges the players. The recently completed restoration of the stadium course, including expanding the green, as we said, on 17, instead of leaning into the challenge of the new 17th, the PGA Tour used the forward tees on the 17th in every round, never playing the hole longer than 158 yards. Why? Joseph asks. We got a tweet from college golf coach, Air Force coach Tyler Golding. He said 6 playing the sixth hole, 3 tee boxes up was, quote, insulting as a golf fan, and as a college coach, it was set up easier than it would be for a college event, he said. 3 tee boxes up at 6, never more than 158 at 17. Obviously,
it's a dome. It's a slow, soft grass. It's wild. I mean, this again, it just shows that the tour just doesn't understand what entertainment is.
I want to be fair here. Now, if they make it harder, and we're also shouting about pace of play, like those things don't always work in
they could
concert.
work in tandem if you actually had pace of play standards, if you enforce the rules of golf, I heard it again. We have a podcast next week coming out with Davis Love. Davis Love's talked about how, like the younger generation wants birdies. They want scoring. And I just don't think that's necessarily true. I think they want tension.
Yeah.
They want moments that you remember. Like, nobody's going to be like, I remember the moment Sepp Straka hit a 9-iron onto the 17th green with a 3-shot lead. Somebody might remember, like, if he has a 6-iron and he didn't hit the green, and then he makes a double, but then he makes a par on 18. Like, that's what you want to watch.
I mean, the shot of the day was Grazerman, like, carving one into 16, going 16, for it, was right? Awesome where there was stakes and, like, having to hit a real shot. Lamagna added this context watching the ESPN Plus coverage. He said the setup guy, the representative, said that the back tee players would all play into the center of the green and away from a back left pin, reducing the excitement.
They do that with the 9-iron also.
Right. So what was the excitement we got? 6 birdies, 58 pars, and 7 bogeys or worse. 3 shots incurred a penalty stroke all day. So 3 shots hit a penalty. That's it.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Is the third hole at Belle Reve, where there wasn't a bogey in a major championship.
You have water everywhere. Rocks. There's 3 penalty strokes. It's only 6 birdies. Like, and this is what your rationale was. It would reduce excitement. Yeah, he just he flipped a 144-yard short iron to 40 feet and 2-putted for his par, and that's what we got to finish it off. Just it's not the biggest ass kicker of a course anymore, but the setup seems to, rationalizing there may be wind somewhere at some point. It's just kind of chicken shit. And they're not putting the potential intrigue first, but it's player run organization. The other odds and ends I had was the broadcast misidentifying Will Chandler, a PGA Tour card carrying member, as an amateur, as one of the like celebrity or business amateurs. PGA Tour Live, like, who's this? Oh, that was a great shot from some of these amateurs have got some skill. That was pretty funny. That happened on, I forget, Thursday or Friday. Oh, unsubstantiated rumors. So the amateur leaderboard was kind of a disaster. They just had like numbers and letters.
Yeah.
Like the winner was like U324, like just this unknown numbers and letters. I guess it was the CEO of Palo Alto Networks, Nikesh something. I forget his name. But they didn't put names of the amateurs on, I guess, caddies, caddy bibs, bags, tee sheets, and the leaderboard. Totally unsubstantiated.
They pay a ton of money to be in that thing.
I was unsubstantiated. The person who told me who won it, who U234 was, that Nikesh said there was maybe some concerns about the Luigi thing, that like some of these CEOs and kind of high, don't want their names and whereabouts broadcast everywhere, right? If that makes sense. Now, that's just speculation. I want to be clear about that. But it was weird that there was no published, like, who's winning the amateur event or where are the tee times. I imagine that will not be the case at Pebble, where it's like more of a high profile pro-am deal. All right, let's move on. Let's get out of here. A lot on
Should we
Amex.
talk about Club TFE? That's the most we've ever recapped the Amex, I think, in the history of the Amex.
I mean, how much did we talk about the actual Amex? Larger subjects, which we hit on in Club TFE. We hit on him in Design Notebook. We had multiple course profiles last week. Dunes Week, Dunes Club, Prairie Dunes. Got a couple thousand words on Prairie Dunes.
Lost Dunes. Prairie Dunes.
Yeah, not Dunes Club. Lost Dunes, I should say. A Design Notebook emailed to people on Tuesday. We've got Hangouts. I guess there's a big February Hangout cooking. It's like interactive. You might get some, winners might get sent something. It might be like I don't know. It sounds like there's some special hooks. This comes on the back of January's Hangout, where we designed TGL Island. Anyways, joining Club TFE is a way to support our work. We work very hard to make sure you get like a content output that sort of affirms your decision. Work very hard to make sure you get like experiences, opportunities, whether it's events straight up or other playing opportunities at other events. You get a little merch discount. You get these hangouts. It's something that we work very hard to. It's a way to support us, to support our work, which will keep coming via Club TFE. You got anything else on that? Are we good?
No, I think we're good. We're good. Is Tyrrell the first player in live history to hold his OWGR 1 year later? He's actually improved it. Improved it.
Jumped back into the top 10, I believe.
He was 26 at this time last year, and now he's 8th this time. We're playing on a tour primarily that doesn't get OWGR points.
He wins the Hero Dubai Desert Classic. He's gone, I think, T18, 10th, 1, 2, 5, 6, 1 in his last like 6 starts with OWGR points. He's top 10, as you said. Daniel Hillier, the New Zealander, made him earn it, made him go all the way. It was kind of interesting to hear Hatton talk about, like, I was so nervous on the back 9. This is an event I've always wanted to win. It's like I talked about how he like skipped school to watch it as a kid. This event's now 36 years old. It's kind of nuts. I feel like this sort of newborn still, but you got Hatton talking about how much he's watched this. And so, yeah, he's for someone who's been so poor in majors, he's got like a lot of big game on his wall, right? With BMW PGA. I think this was his 5th Rolex Series event. I'm starting to buy into the gold stars. Like, oh, he's got 5 gold stars beside his name now. I am starting to get into the notion of accruing gold star wins. So he's won Dunhill Links 3 times, I believe, BMW PGA. He's won Abu Dhabi, API Bay Hill. Like, he's won some stout field events, right? And it only seems to be getting bigger. And now he wins the Dubai Desert Classic. Hillier made him earn it to the end. You know, he had to hit like a, what was it, like 7-8 foot par putt after he, I don't know if he was trying to backboard, but he sent one way deep, got up and down for birdie. Hatton makes his par to win by 1. Is he a Ryder Cup lock?
I was
Rory
going to ask
seemed
that.
to suggest as much, and that would seem to be a signal that he is.
I would agree with that he's a lock. My other question for you, and I think like it's the kind of like golfers come in all shapes, sizes, and games, right? I think like when you think about the Whistling Straits, he's 33 now. He played Whistling Straits when he was 29. At Whistling Straits,
Yeah,
I felt like he was just like, okay, he'll be on the team 1 or 2 times, right? I don't think I ever imagined, and obviously the major championship performance has never been there.
Top 10, I think.
But like, I guess I never envisioned him being
more than that.
A top 20 player for this long.
Yeah, more than, I should be fair, more than 1 top 10. He's got but not much in the last 5-6 years. So T9 at last year's Masters, which he's talked negatively about Augusta, but maybe figured it out. Yeah, he's got to get going in the in the majors, but it's incredible. If Rory said, what was the quote? I wrote it down. He'll be amazing in New York. He's proved that over the last 3 Ryder Cups. He's a massive asset for the European team. He also doesn't give a flying fig, I guess, what people think about him. So, yeah, it seems like when Rory's blessing you and you've played multiple Ryder Cups and done well, you're kind of a lock. He says he wants to get there on points. I don't know if Sepp is a lock, that's for sure, but Hatton does seem to have a pretty strong hold on one of the 12 positions for that. Congrats to him. I mean, a real freaking pro, a legit top 10 player in the world. McIlroy, Rory finished T4, and it's the first time he hadn't won it in 3 years, I want to say. It's his worst event or worst finish in his last 5 tries there. Like, not a bad finish, obviously. T4. He's just done very well at this course. So he gets off and running. Rob misses the cut. Were you personally offended by Tyrrell Hatton breaking the tee marker on Saturday? This got a lot of play. Kind of took his club and bashed a tee marker, got called in front of the class for him to talk about it, and then won on Sunday. Were you upset about this? Or is this Hatton doing Hatton things?
Is Hatton doing Hatton things? Should he be doing it? Probably not. Like we saw Hideki do the 1-arm finish and have the club hit somebody.
Yeah. Not great.
At the Sony, like, you just think about like one of the tee markers, like some of the way they're built, like you could hit it and it could, like, a shard could fly into the crowd, like it's probably a thing if you're a pro golfer you shouldn't do. That being said, I understand how frustrating golf can be and what it can make you feel inside.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of an accrual there with Hatton where you're just, I find it amusing at times, but it's just like, all right, man, like we get it. And it's just like the cumulatively, it's just, I don't know, not as fun, a little more exhausting now because it's just constant. Anyways,
what do you think of the Cleeks redesign of the logo?
I didn't think much. It seems like they didn't do a whole lot. Some slightly new format, fonting, lettering. I thought the rebranding was going to be a whole new name and all that stuff, but it's very subtle. I don't think much of it, to answer your question. Champions Tour Minute. Should we call in PJ for this? Ernie Els has won the Waialae, the Mitsubishi Electric Championship with a steady off-season diet of beer and good food. Anything else happen out there in Waialae?
Did anything else happen? I mean, it was a great.
Were you watching?
Oh, I was dialed. I was absolutely dialed all 3 days. It was great.
All 3.
It finished during halftime of Lions Commies, so it was kind of a perfect time. I had
set that up.
St. John Seton Hall, Lions Commies, Champions Tour, just switching back and forth, bang, 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 bang. Great Saturday night. Zinger was unbelievable.
Zinger, of course he was.
They're running the 3-man weave with Lanny and Zinger and Papa. Papa was obviously a big standout. I have a couple Zinger quotes here. This is from Friday. One of the things that I love being out here this early is how hard these guys work. It's why I didn't come out here. I thought they'd all be smoking cigars and drinking red wine. Which
Jimenez, by the way, finished runner-up, and Miguel Angel, who does exactly that, right?
Lanny said, "Well, one of them does," and they showed him Miguel.
He's runner-up,
which was good.
He's runner-up.
Good transition.
That's great. Why was
Friday
Lanny there? Was this like an official handing of the baton?
Yes,
Three wide?
this was a swan. Right. This was a swan song. This was it. This was the official Lanny sign off. Gave him one last go with Papa, because Papa didn't do the Schwab Cup. So.
I don't understand why Papa's back. Did they work it out in the off season?
So Papa, the college stuff is through Golf Channel, but the Champs Tour is PGA Tour Studios. So I think Papa does not work for Golf Channel anymore.
Same as Zinger then.
Yes, same as Zinger. The highlight for me Friday night, Rob Lowe.
My good friend.
Yeah, Andy's friend of Riv. Is hanging out, and he said he has been to the Four Seasons Hualalai for 20 years, but he's never stayed for the tournament. But now he's going to make it a yearly thing. He's going to come back yearly thing. He played in the Pro-Am. He shot his career best 77 at the course there.
At Hualalai.
He loves it.
Really?
Seems like you know how to pronounce it. PJ.
Hualalai.
I don't think I know anything.
I think you pronounced it correctly. Four Seasons at home. Well, how did you say it?
Hualalai? Hualalai? I don't know. I listened to it enough from Papa that I feel like I've been just kind of indoctrinated with it. Rob Lowe revealed that he coached Fred Couples' son in T-ball, so they caught up and they chatted about that.
You got all the nuggets.
He called Mike Weir a dear friend. He doesn't practice swing when he's playing golf because when he's acting, if he takes a practice scene and he does it too well, then he'll be thinking about it during the real take.
Wow!
So he doesn't take practice swings when he plays golf.
That's a great theory. I think I've said this before. I don't think about speed when I putt because I don't think like a great shooter. Like if I was Steph or JJ Redick, like they're not like I'm 32 feet from the hoop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot the like. So I don't think that. I kind of love that with Rob Lowe, the practice swing theory. Well, I don't even take real practice swings though, is the thing.
God, we are mining the Champions Tour here.
There's more. There's don't worry.
Good stuff coming.
He said he acts on feel. Rob Lowe. He doesn't act on science or anything like that. And he acts on feel. And Zinger legitimately laughed out loud into the microphone as that happened. Rob Lowe was popping the Giants, saying that Papa needs to get in there and fix things and get a new quarterback and outwardly popping the Giants. Rob Lowe said he was starstruck standing next to Lanny and Zinger. That's a quote.
Sounds like PJ starstruck next to Zinger.
Rob
PJ would have been starstruck next to Papa. Let's be clear.
That's fair. Some other odds and ends. Zinger is clearly still learning the Champions Tour because he's trying to compare everything to like the PGA Tour.
Of course he is. It's gonna be that for 5 years. He's never gonna learn it.
So Lanny is trying to like walk him through the Champions Tour players and like the history of the guys that Zinger has no idea who they are, like Ricardo Gonzalez, for example. Zinger's got no idea who Ricardo Gonzalez is, so Lanny's trying to like hold his hand through this entire situation. Jerry Kelly has, quote, hockey brain and the guts of a burglar.
What does hockey brain mean?
Hockey brain.
What does that mean? Punch too many times?
He's ready to throw down.
I wish I could tell you. Then just a couple odds and ends from the broadcast.
That is so good.
Papa's going down the Schwab Cup leaderboard. He hits on numbers 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, but skips Dick Green at number 3 because he did not get a sponsor exemption into this field somehow. So no love for Dick Green in week 1.
Well, so there's a lot of weeks. How many weeks are there on the Champions Tour? 30 or so?
Yeah, 20, 28, I think it is.
28. So there's 27 more Dick Green weeks.
Well, we can only hope.
To be clear, you've not been assigned Champions Tour minute for a second consecutive year. Yeah, you're just doing this out of interest.
I'm doing this on my own volition. Yeah.
Now we might need to keep it up after the amount of content that you.
I mean, I'm disappointed we didn't get a Champions Tour fantasy league going. Do you think there's still time? I don't know where we could get it done. That's the issue.
5 years, I feel like.
We would have to make our own spreadsheet every week. It'd have to be through like Google Forms every week.
Oh, then PJ's spending way too much time.
No, we need a spreadsheet intern. There's got to be somebody that listens to this podcast that could knock it out in like 1 second. This should not be up to us.
If enough of you sign up for Club TFE, you might just get a Champions Tour. Those proceeds may go to Champions Tour fantasy administration. Yeah.
So that was it. Papa was also recapping the 2024 major winners on the senior circuit, and did not mention the other 3 winners, but did not mention the Bland Slam. No, just glossed over it. Mentioned that where those events will be this year, the U.S. Senior Open, and the Senior PGA, but we're ignoring Blandemonium.
Can we acknowledge the real world we live in with this stuff? Like, what are we doing? There was a big hullabaloo about JT joining this, like, the $60 million club. He's the 11th man.
Yeah.
Phil just doesn't exist on this list anymore. Like, come on. Dick Bland won majors last year. You don't need to put their name up in lights, but he's not the 11th guy to join it. Phil just doesn't exist on the money list anymore. It's ridiculous. Let's just
Trump's got it. Probably got the deal in his first 100-day plan.
There we go. Do you know the names? JT
That's what they'll all come back. They'll all come back on the list then.
The list will be the real world.
I saw that Jason Day is right ahead of him. And then Spieth is 10. Spieth is 10. I pulled up the money list.
Yeah.
It's crazy where Scheffler is. Scheffler's like 4 or 5. Did you see that?
He's 3 on the fake list with no
fake
Phil.
List, but with Phil at 90 million.
Okay.
He's like number 4. It's like it just like shows how much money he's playing for at this point.
Crazy.
So DJ, I assume, is also not on the fake list.
Yeah.
DJ would be behind Rory, ahead of Scheffler. I think Scheffler's 5 on the real list.
Okay.
I think it goes Tiger, Phil, Rory, DJ, Scotty.
Okay. Then we have Furyk, saying Scott, Rose, Spieth, Day, JT. Just jumped Kuchar. I mean, yeah, along with the Scotty thing, just seeing, inflation is real, right? JT, Spieth, all these modern players that you would expect jumping in there. Kuchar's played forever. He's only, 13th or whatever it is now. But yeah, JT's won 15 times. I think we sometimes forget that. Guys made some coin. Anything else on Champs Tour, PJ? Are we good there?
Other than it was a good finish. Went down right to the wire between Bernie and Ernie. I mean, it's a good way to start. Good way to start.
How about that big EY logo on Ern?
Huge, ginormous lid.
All right, quickly.
Could be the year. Could be the year. It could be a special year for Ernie this year. When he was really in his prime, he would clean up in Hawaii too.
You think he should get a special invitation to Oakmont as a former champion there at U.S. Open?
I think he should get a special invitation to Augusta too.
Oh, Maybe he'll get the invite mixed up like he did a few years ago. You've been invited to the pre-tournament ceremonies, like dinner and this and that, but part 3, but not the act.
Do we have any news and notes?
Latin American Amateur Champion Justin Hastings wins that one in a 36-hole day. They pushed it up because of bad weather in Buenos Aires. 21-year-old from the Cayman Islands, a real talent at San Diego State. He wins the Latin America AM. Like, I think unlike the Jarvis kid who won it from Cayman, it seems like this guy is like a real. This could be the start of more.
Cayman Island.
Oh, I have no idea about that. I mean, I not gonna. I don't know. We're not doing ethnicity test here or anything like that. But I think he's been playing in the Cayman Islands forever. But he's like a college All-American watch list guy. He's one of San Diego State's best players. They've had even better scoring average than Xander and things like that. But so he could go on to more things. He's now in some majors via winning the Latin America Amateur Championship. KFT, I don't think we ever shouted out Hank Lebioda for winning in the Bahamas last week. They're off and running again this week. That's a Sunday to Wednesday. I saw Luke Guthrie was our early first round leader, but that's already changing. You know, a lot of movement.
University of Illinois, great Luke Guthrie.
4A. Luke Guthrie. He's been around. He's done some things. Lebioda's kind of.
I think he's at this point in his career is more of a 3A player.
Yeah, maybe. Did you see the alternate rule that Ryan French tweeted about? Like, they missed alternates. Some guys didn't get in because you like verbally have to tell the tour you're not coming. Like, you could be in Antarctica and you have to call in or text or something, say,
what?
I verbally am not playing this week. So a guy went down there, Ryan French, subscribed to his Monday queue. And so they were too short, I think, of a full field. Now, they might not have had alternates on site anyways, but this kid was sweating it out because he had to call and find these guys who were ahead of him on the alternate list to like tweet or DM or call in and say, like, I am not coming. I am not there. So he could get out there because he was present. Kind of an insane rule as people, you know, fight for playing opportunities and stuff like that, this bit of like clerical, you know, hurdle is still around.
No, you think with all those employees at the tour office, they'd be able to find one that could do this themselves.
News. What do we got? Torrey Pines Field stinks. Maybe we'll talk about that more next episode. But Xander's WD or just never entered. Morikawa WDs. News that it's like its weakest field in 30 years. This is coming starting on Wednesday, just as a reminder. News that maybe it is getting the Genesis, so you could be going there twice in about 3-4 weeks. Maybe that's leading to some WDs. Guys don't want to go there, or if I'm going to go for the signature event in that person small field. I don't know. That's pure speculation. I don't know. The relocation of the Genesis doesn't interest me in a way. Like, it just feels inconsequential. I know it's a news item, but going to Torrey twice would kind of stink. This field is not great. Brooks Koepka is split with Claude Harmon III, his longtime swing instructor. I feel that's like off and on, or it was at one point. I don't know. I've also lost my appetite for swing coach changes too at this point. Not interested in that too much, but that is news. You already hit.
What about double up Tory rumors?
I just said that. I just talked about that in the preceding 3 minutes as scrolled around and got distracted.
I saw that Trump said that we might that he vowed to send people to Mars. That's what.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, at least you're locked in here. No, it's not great. It's not great. I'm not interested in the Genesis relocation, but it's fine.
It's fine. It's a really shitty situation. It's a really shitty situation, and you know what? Yeah. Just like whatever, It's a golf. Like no venue was ever going to be like, oh, that's sweet that we're going there instead of Riv, Yeah.
I don't. There's the whole story and debate about where they should go is not super interesting to me, or doesn't get my juices flowing. That said, I don't want to go to Torrey twice in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but whatever. They're going back. Allegedly, reportedly. I think Rick Gaiman had that on Sunday night. That's it. I don't have anything else. Some other news and notes, but that's it.
I wanted to get your reaction to something.
Uh-oh. What's that?
I saw this came across my desk early this morning.
Okay.
The way too early college football top 25 is my Illini number 7.
That's awesome. Look at this. Look at the Big Ten just alphaing all over. You got Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, and Illinois in the top 7. That's 4. Notre Dame is spiritually a Big Ten team. That's 5 of the first 7. Illinois, number 7? It is way too early. Let's be honest.
This is unbelievable. I mean, if we start here, we can only net out I feel like being ranked early in the year is so important to getting into the playoff.
Yeah.
Because if you start high, how wild is this?
It's exciting. You got 7 months to live on this, to dine out on this, and then they play the games. I love it. I'm happy for you. They're 7 spots ahead of Alabama. Kind of bananas.
8
Michigan.
spots ahead of LSU.
Michigan. They're 5 spots ahead of Michigan. 7. Can I January?
Like our whole team is back. Only guy we're missing is our awesome receiver is going to the NFL. But basically the whole team's back. The team that just bullied number 8 South Carolina just got in the trenches and pushed them around.
Okay, so they're 7th in the way too early college football top 25. Do you know who's 7th in the European Ryder Cup standings as for a September event here in January? So very similar timelines.
Laurie Cancer.
Julien Guerrier, the Frenchman, is currently 7th in the Ryder Cup European standings. So 1 spot behind Paul Waring. So yeah, I mean,
does this mean that does this mean I can say that we're projected into the playoff?
You can. Yeah, you can
we're a
use
playoff
this
team
as much as you want from now until basically whenever they lose, September, if they lose. So use it all you want. So
I think I need to start
exciting.
planning some trips around the football schedule.
Absolutely. I would. Yeah, they play Oregon or Washington away. You got to go up the
they
coast.
Got at Washington.
Okay.
They got Ohio State at home.
Wow. Yeah. Who do you like tonight? Was that be defending national champion Ohio State that they'll have at home? Who do you like?
I think it's got to be OSU, right?
Yeah, feels like it.
Marcus Freeman's already thinking about his time as the Bears coach. That interview's been completed. Tweet is coming, right? Maybe Tuesday morning.
What was the last one I saw? God, they're just running through everybody.
Somebody
Eddie George.
That the
yes, that's what it was. Eddie George.
Middle Tennessee State.
Tennessee
coach.
State, yeah.
That the Packers offensive coordinator, who also got a interview completed graphic, kind of looks like the Tank, just a big bald guy.
He does look so much like the Tank. Oh my God. Can you get that up on the screen?
Who is it?
Give me a second.
Adam Stenovich. He looks identical to the Tank. I mean, this is like a mirror image of the Tank.
He does.
It's wild.
He doesn't really look like him.
Didn't he play at Michigan? Wasn't he a player at Michigan? I want to say like an offensive lineman or something at Michigan. Sounds familiar. I don't know if he played. Yeah. He's a tackle at Michigan. So
this is let me.
He interviewed for who? The Jets
Bears job.
The Bears.
Because the last time we hired Matt LaFleur, look at him.
Just leaning into the big burly Midwesterner. So you have to hire him.
You see this picture, BP? On the screen?
See it. He does look like a little Tank vibe to him.
He looks just like him. Here. Let me just run down the list of people we've interviewed so far.
Oh God.
Eddie George, Adam Stenovich, Brian Flores, Joe Brady, Todd Monken, Mike McCarthy, Arthur Smith, David Shaw.
Oh my God.
Thomas Brown, Ron Rivera, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, Mike Kafka, Pete Carroll, Anthony Weaver, Drew Pitzing, Mike Vrabel, and that's it, I think.
Wild. Well, best of luck to you. I would suggest going after my commies offensive coordinator, guy dialing it up, just dotting all over, alphaing all over PJ's Lions.
How excited is the Porath household about the
Very
commies?
excited. Late Saturday night. It was like impartially, that was an incredible game. Fun game. Like just back and forth. Nuts. I felt bad, honestly. I like Detroit. I like the Lions, I like their fan base. Obviously, as a lifelong commies fan, I was rooting for them and just emotional seeing Joe Gibbs out there, thinking about growing up with him, childhood memories with that. But yeah, I feel bad for Lions fans and the Lions and Goff. You know, it just feel bad all the way around. Talk in my house of going to Philly, which I'm just going to throw my body in front of. You know, a division rival. Just my wife and kid, who's 11, want to go there. Like without me, I was like, you're not going. You're not doing that. I'm gonna have to throw my body in front of that.
They need to be in a suite if they go as a commies fan.
Yeah.
You cannot be out.
It's a high pressure situation.
You can't wear
Mr. Harris, if you're listening and have extra room for a 11-year-old and my wife, they might go. But otherwise, I'm not letting them go, subjecting them to that environment in opposing colors.
Hey, PJ, do you think Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in the NFC North?
I think there's a conversation that's possible. It depends on who his coach is, but I think there's a conversation that this time next year, 365 days from now, I think I would put my money on that.
Is he the best rookie quarterback?
No. I don't think that's.
He might be third, but I don't know.
One thing I'd point out is that he's significantly younger than Jaden Daniels.
Fair.
That is
full 2 years younger. So,
all right.
You know, would point that out, is that age does matter when we're making declarations about young 20s.
Okay. All right. That does it, I think, for this Monday. This short one, we said. Monday episode. We will be back probably Tuesday night. Are we doing that? Are we going to Tuesday night live after TGL again? Or because we got a quick turnaround.
Oh, they got new holes.
Yeah,
we have to. Well, you know why we have to do live Tuesday?
Why? Wednesday start.
The gambling world. The gambling world is waiting for our picks.
We're
I
hot.
think we won 1-2-12 this week because that's the story, and I'm sticking to it.
Somebody picked JT. I picked the other JT.
Somebody did take JT.
Someone did.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll do probably live late Tuesday, get ahead of Farmers, maybe less reaction to TGL, but some of it. You know, you got all these guys who've been playing and playing next week, you know, Cam Young. So it's interesting. So.
Donald Sauce on Twitter says, always enjoy the show, but going live during the inauguration isn't very classy. As we all know, some things are bigger than the game we all love. I would point out we're idiots. And we scheduled this and did not think about it till this morning. It was like, oh, this is during the inauguration. So
maybe we're racist because we're doing it on MLK Day. Not just we're just all sorts of things. Oh, PJ didn't like that one. I mean, PJ, come on. We didn't think about it. I'm sorry. Oh, all right. It had nothing to do with the inauguration. Had nothing to do with the holiday. Just holiday Monday. I don't know. We just figured we'd react, get our notes together. And now you got an hour and a half of podcasts. All right. We'll be back with you Tuesday.
And we're going to Mars.
Yeah.
Going to Mars.
Let's play golf on Mars.